Okay, episode 105. We're back. This is a very shortened break schedule. Mike and I did a little mini WWDC episode during the week, during the middle of the week. But we're back here, and we're not going to talk. Well, we might talk a little about Apple, but we're not going to focus on it. And Nick, you said you wanted to start the show off with something.
Yeah, so what's funny is you mentioned right off the top that, man, there's like nothing to talk about in the show notes. We've been trying to cut down, and here we are. We can
Mhm.
really go into it. It's like, and my reaction was, yeah, that's what happens when you cut out all the bullshit about cell phones.
Well,
But
there
much
is.
to your
Yeah,
surprise, there's
there
still
is a
bullshit
story in
about cell
there.
phones.
Well, wait,
But
wait. I wouldn't call it surprise. I would call it chagrin.
yep.
Oh, yep, nope, there it is.
But in this case, it's a personal experience story. It's not. Here's the latest news and fancy shiny things.
Hmm.
I
Also, my
think it's.
lower third isn't working, so that's something.
It rarely ever does.
Yeah.
I was going for a pun based on your lower thirds, and well, here we are.
I saw a joke on Twitter this week about they compared. I think they compared the UK leaving the European Union as and making it akin to running Linux in the desktop. Like it seems like a good idea until you actually try it, and then everything goes horribly wrong.
And then you come crawling back to your
Yeah.
warm, comfortable Windows.
Yeah.
Except I have not done that.
No.
Also, the one thing I was gonna say, like right off the hop, like why are we talking about not Brexit? Because
Why are we
that's
talking
just
about
something we
not
should be.
it?
Yeah, why are we talking about anything but Brexit?
Well,
Is it
because it has no science or technology angle that
doesn't it?
I'm aware of.
Political science is not science, Nick.
All the
Well,
I once heard social science described as a science so soft you could spread it on toast. Remains my favorite description ever.
uh,
Um, but no, there's a lot of like European Space Agency
yeah,
stuff
yeah.
that's
Well, no,
I
there's
assume
stuff to
hanging
do
in
with.
limbo.
Yeah, like scientists from the UK all like signed a petition and did a bunch of voicing of opinions before the vote. And now there's talk about what are they going to do about CERN? What are they going to do about all these international European collaborations? Scientists are in dismay, but it's not really. I don't think, since we don't really focus on that side of things too often, that it came up. And I think that's why we haven't talked about it. Not that I wouldn't talk about it.
Since we're talking about it now,
Mhm.
Oh, thank God.
the way the way I see it playing out is that the skilled, important people that are advantaged by UK being in the EU, it'll just be more bureaucracy for them
Yeah.
to work out their arrangements. Whereas if someone just, kind of freely decides to work in Germany just at a retail store, they're probably not going to be able to do that.
Mhm.
Like, because you'd need, visas and all that kind of stuff. But scientists and, business professionals or whatever, like, chances are they'll just get visas like anyone else does if they want to work abroad.
Yeah. It'll just be a lot harder.
It's just a lot
I,
harder, and yeah.
I was gonna say, like, based on the scientists I know, I could definitely see them just heading out,
Yeah.
just
On
being
their own
like,
accord or out of necessity.
oh, and well, a
Both.
little bit of both, really,
Yeah.
because if you put up roadblocks or bureaucracy between scientists and their funding, they will just like peace out, go like, you know what, it's been great, but I'm an expert in this field, and I will be more successful elsewhere. They
Yeah.
will just
Right.
gone.
The other chance, I guess, is that you'll have, going back to the UK Germany example, that you'll just hire a German
Right.
versus hiring someone from the UK because it's easier and cheaper.
Yeah. There's all kinds of consequences that I don't think they really thought about in voting, or at least a lot of the people didn't.
But the
Did
people
we
who are in those
watch?
situations voted to stay. That was the
Yeah,
whole
of course.
point.
Of course they did. Yeah.
Right.
Did we watch John Oliver's Brexit video? All of us.
Yes.
No.
Okay, because it's he makes a very good point because a lot of it is backlash against refugees among older generations.
Oh, for sure. I didn't need
Like
to watch a video to know that. But
he actually showed a video of this one lady Like just this sweet-looking old lady just sitting and knitting. It's like, no, I don't have a problem with most immigrants, but the one group I do have an issue with is the Negroes, and I have no idea why. It's like one of those, you know, I don't know
Yeah.
if you've ever sat around a grandparent, they come out with something like this, Grandma, no!
Wait, what century is this again?
Well, no, if it's a grandma, then you can't blame them for having that mindset. Like you can blame them, but you can understand where they're coming from,
I don't
generationally
even know
wise.
that. I know you're trying to take grandma's side, but I think
I'm
she's
not.
on the wrong side of history on this one. I think that's the best
No,
way to
I'm
put
not.
it.
I'm not trying to justify her
No,
position.
I know. You're trying to explain
Why
it,
do you
but
support racism, Mike?
yeah, Mike.
I'm saying that those are the people that like they're a product of their generation's
Generation.
time. They should be able to change, or they should change, but you can't really expect them to.
Right. It's almost like we have a minimum voting age. We need a maximum voting age. At
Yeah.
which point your opinions might be less relevant than they were.
Oh, I want to say that's a slippery slope, and that's a totally fallacious line of reasoning. And
Well, yeah, the
oh man,
uninformed.
just by the way, you're no longer a citizen, so what up? Get out.
No, okay. So what I'm saying is, as validation, like if you're not 18 or 21 or whatever the voting age is in your area, you're considered not well enough informed to be like you're not an adult. You're not eligible to vote.
I don't think it's about being informed. It's about having enough at stake to make your vote relevant.
Right. But so what would people and this theoretical age limit could be like it could be like an eyesight test for driving. Like it could be that kind of thing where it's literally you have to pass some sort of physical ability to do stuff thing.
When I was 16 and I really wanted to participate in the project or in the process,
Mhm.
I desperately wanted like a civics test that you could
Yeah,
write
exactly.
to be like, yes, this person is underage, but they are like well informed and yeah, let them vote.
Yeah.
If you had a system like that,
Yeah.
maybe you could, like with a little essay portion where someone's written in, I don't have problems with most immigrants, but, and
It's
then
like,
you
no,
can
no,
say,
no, I'll stop you right there. No vote.
it's like, okay, so maybe you go feed your kitties on
Yeah.
election day.
So
Well,
I feel like that type of arrangement turns into like a proletariat versus bourgeois like system.
Maybe if the proletariat wanted to advance, they shouldn't be so stupid.
No, that's the whole point. It's like you have this voting elite, right? That's making decisions for the country, whereas the people not quote unquote informed enough don't have a say.
right, and that's what happened here. That was
Well,
But they
you
did
had
have a say. That's why it worked out the way it did.
what if you had it automatically from 18 to 65,
Mm,
and then outside that range you had to write a test?
yeah.
That's still not
That'd
going to
be-
work based on the charter, but you know.
Yeah, I'd be more okay with that.
So here's the thing that this makes me think of is like you have to think about the average voter in this scenario, and the average voter is way, 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 way less informed than the average 16-year-old Nick. And at that point, something might be broken.
Of all Nicks in the world that are
Yeah.
16.
There's a group of voters that are very uninformed, and there was actually like this is the craziest thing during this Brexit referendum kind of lead up. There were people saying maybe we've had enough of these expert opinions, and we should be forming our own opinions, and that was the sort of the thing of like if these supposed experts are saying we should stay, maybe we should leave just because they're experts. It's like the reaction from climate change or to
Yeah.
climate change in response to scientists all being on board with climate change being real. It's like, well, I don't know if we trust these fancy degrees. I think we should. And it's like, well, that you're using the opposite. No, you can't. It's really frustrating.
I want to jump in and say that as you were talking there, I was resizing my window and I was making it smaller, and then you started pretending, no, you can't, and I was like, it's okay, Rob, I'm not closing the window, and then I realized that that's not at all. You don't know what I'm doing with the window.
Yeah.
I heard a quote somewhere that was paraphrased that everyone's biased.
Mm-hmm.
So you just need to accept that and find the bias that's the least biased or the most reasonable bias. Like, if you're getting information from somewhere other than first-hand experience, is going to have a bias, whether it's conscious or not, whether it's unfair or not, whatever. So I think like that's just a reality that we're faced with, especially in today's society, where it's all very second, third, fourth, eighth-hand information.
Yeah. It's also all very filtered through social networks.
Exactly. No, exactly. So you have echo chamber effects. You have networks that are putting out content that have their own biases, even if the people reporting them don't. It's just so much that it's behind the scenes and you can't tell on just by reading it or watching it. So,
Yeah.
and that's why immediately after the Brexit vote, they're showing all these videos of people who are like, "Oh, I voted, but I didn't think that we were going to. I didn't want to. I blah blah blah
I
blah
hate
blah."
that so much.
But it's like, how many people actually felt that way? Because you know, I was telling Rob offline, like they could have interviewed like 1,000 people, and they picked the 2 people that had that stance.
Yeah.
So, but it makes it sound like that was the general consensus.
They found literally the stupidest people.
Exactly. No, like
interviewed
that
those people.
could have been what happened. So.
I just Kaya showed me one of those articles, and I just kind of lost it a little bit.
Yeah. We might have to have an an East meets West about this, because it's not super science and techie, but there are certain angles where science and technology are involved. And I think
I'll tell you where there's a lot of science and tech. It's in the stock market, and that is not doing well.
No. Yeah.
I feel like we talked
all
about
the markets
on the show already, didn't we?
About
what?
this?
No, about voting systems.
We did, yeah.
So
a little bit.
yeah, we had a whole episode on it, didn't we?
But this was like a yes no. This was like I was again on Twitter seeing that like this was the clearest referendum vote that has ever been made. It was like,
oh yeah,
yes or no on the ballot. Do you want to stay in the European Union? Do you want to leave the European Union? Like, it was so clear what you were voting for. Yeah, it's just it's kind of almost like the opposite of what Canada did last fall to get Harper out. It was a political thing. Like, I don't care who I'm voting for. I don't care who the ruling person is as long as it's not Stephen Harper. They're like, I don't care what the other effects of this are. I just want the Prime Minister of England, UK, I don't actually know what he's Prime Minister of, to
the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland.
There you go. I want him to know that I am not happy with him, because it was his referendum. He decided to do this. It was a political move, and they wanted to say we're not okay with politics of the time, but they should have been voting in a general election or in some other, like, this referendum was not the time to make a political stance vote. And this ended up happening because they did.
Did they, though?
They did. That was the main reason that they all did that. Like, and to a certain extent, it was also just the media, the Labour, and I guess what was the other party? The Independent Party. They wanted to
UKIP.
Yeah.
Mm.
They wanted out, but they wanted to be in power in this new paradigm. And it was all politics. There's no real strong sentiment among a majority of the UK to actually leave the EU. They just wanted different politicians in power.
They just want to make Britain great again.
Yeah.
We should probably start on the show.
I kept saying that, but
all right. So East meets West immediately after, or you guys have places to be?
I have places to be, but we can definitely work that out.
Solid. Okay.
We have lots of time before the
Mike too.
effect of
Mike's
this.
also here.
Yeah.
Mike seems all turned up. About as turned up as I seem to be about cell phones.
There you go. So, Mike, do you? We alluded to this, or I alluded to this last episode at the very beginning. You have bikes in the background, right behind you.
Yes, do tell.
Yeah, what happened with these bikes?
Long story short, Maria wanted a bike, and we didn't need a middle or even high-end or even middle-end bike. So there's a good sale at Sport Check, and we got her a hybrid from there.
Mike.
Wait,
Mike.
let me finish.
Go on.
So that was that. We at first went into Pedalheads, and they tried to sell us a $900 bike for her, which she doesn't need.
That sounds great.
It
She
sounds
should've gotten
great,
that.
but she doesn't need a $900 bike for what
That's a
she
solid
wants.
entry-level price for a bike.
No, I am not disagreeing with that.
Okay.
But for what she needs the bike for, she does not even need an entry level
Mhm.
high-end bike.
Okay.
So we got her that. Then they had the men's frame version. And I was like, So I went and test drove some bikes at Boat Cycle. Some Norcos, a Kona, a Cannondale. They all felt nice. They were light, they were fast. Went back to Sport Check, tested out the other bike, and I felt that the Sport Check bike, for what I need now, was good enough.
Okay, so
And
I have a couple.
so justification, if I get enough into biking to the point where I would greatly benefit from a high-end bike, I will jump into the $900 to $1,200 price range and get myself a nice bike.
Guys,
But
do you
this
see a
was-
light?
This
at the
is a
end of the
very
dark
good
tunnel?
sale.
Or is it just me?
Okay, Mike. First of all, can we hear what the price of the bike you got was, and
It was-
maybe some good things about it?
It was $350
Oh,
on
Okay.
sale, $100 off.
Mm-hmm.
So it's only like $450, and it's aluminum,
Mm-hmm.
and it's got Shimano, quote unquote Shimano components. I know that's a fairly gimmicky thing to say, but
Mm-hmm.
no, Shimano's a good group set.
okay. So it's got Shimano components. It is a hybrid, so it's got the narrow wheels that allow you to fly through the pavement effortlessly. The shifting could be better, and it is heavier
Those are
for
the
an
Shimano
aluminum bike.
components, so.
They're low-end Shimano
Yeah,
components.
yeah.
What is the name of the components? Do you know?
I had no idea. I had
There's-
to look
I'm
at
guessing
Okay.
Tiagra maybe.
He went to Sport Check. He does not know what kind of
That's right.
derailleurs he
I
has.
really want 105s. Something with a Shimano 105 group set, that would be amazing. I think they're up to 11 speeds now on the
It says
105s.
Shimano tourney on it.
Oh dear.
Turning.
I don't even recognize that.
Anyway,
Yeah.
okay, so
Mike,
ultimately for Maria was never going to get a bike different than this
Mhm.
level because she's just not into biking like that. For me, I could benefit from like a $900 bike, but
I would argue you could both benefit from a $900 bike. You may not appreciate the differences at this point, but you could both benefit.
Mike,
yes.
I need a call to reason here briefly. You right now,
Mhm.
having only seen this bike and test ridden others.
No, I test drove this bike too.
No, I mean, sorry, you've test driven the group of bikes you've test driven.
Yeah. Mhm.
I really just sincerely hope that this experience doesn't put you off of biking because of the subpar, according to what Nick and I know, of going to the next step up.
Mhm.
I've had that bike before, and it
Okay,
made my
Rob-
life relatively worse.
My last bike before this was it was a Sport Check mountain bike, but
Mhm.
it was like the base model mountain bike.
Yeah.
From Sport Check. So it was
We're
like
not saying you bought the worst
It was a
bike.
$150 mountain bike. So this is an upgrade for me.
Mike, it's just that we love you and we care about you, and we don't want to see you throw your biking life away.
Yep.
I rode an hour and a half per day for an entire 4 months.
And you could have done it in an hour
sounds
with a better
awful.
bike.
Yeah.
No, exactly. That's my whole point. So with this one, I should be able to do that type of ride a lot easier.
Maybe.
So I will enjoy that.
Okay, well,
It-
we
does
want to
this
see
have?
you happy, so...
Do you have front shocks, or are they just
No.
just a regular fork?
No,
Okay.
Okay, guys, I'm not stupid. Come on.
No, in a simpler time, I was so excited about having shocks, and now so much energy was wasted in that time. I'm so glad to not be there.
There was, I remember when I was younger and how I approached bikes. And then I actually taught some people around that age. Like, yeah, the shocks just make the ride so better, you know? And it's just like walk along and shake your head, go, oh man,
Yeah.
teenagers are so stupid.
Yeah. So, Mike, you'll have to report back how the first few rides are, assuming you haven't, they've been sitting in that same spot. So I'm assuming you haven't taken them out on any kind of
I've
bike trips yet.
I took them out with Emma, but
Okay.
for all intents and purposes, that was just a coasting session.
Yeah. So, Nick, why don't you tell me about the future of Soylent? Because apparently you're a beta tester now. Is that what's happening?
No, I was actually on the Soylent subreddit not
Okay.
long ago, and there was a question about, the texture on 1.5 is kind of grainy, and so the obvious answer, of course, is just, either blend it up super well or let it chill for about 4 hours.
Yeah.
And so I headed to the comments to just see that it was there, and a couple of the comments were like, "Oh, well, if you just wait, you can order some 1.6." And I went, "So what? What?" And I just got the notification that my next box of 1.5 was shipping, and now 1.6 is coming out.
Well, 1.6 is coming, but there's no.
Like, it's starting to ship within a week or something like that, apparently. I
Okay.
just horribly, horribly timed that one.
Well, you didn't horribly time it.
I
How
horribly
could you have
timed it.
known?
I could have read the Soylent blog every single day,
Yeah,
waiting for an update I didn't know
I
was
guess.
coming.
But is that update going to address graininess? Like specifically?
Yeah, texture, flavor. It
And how?
changes the macronutrient balance to that of Soylent 2.0.
Okay. Because I really like 2.0, but for the longest
Everyone
time,
likes 2.0. Apparently, it's very popular.
yeah, I ordered 1.5 back in February. I ordered 1.5 and I ordered 2.0 at the same time, thinking, okay, if I don't like 2.0, I'll still have the old stuff. And for the next 7 weeks, because that's approximately how long it takes me to have it just at lunch, I was just like, God, this is annoying. I wish I just had the 2.0 right now.
Yeah.
And I don't know, 1.6, it intrigues me, but not having to mix things makes it life way easier. And now I can subscribe, so when I need more, I don't have to deal with trying to figure out timing. I just hit like need more now every 2 weeks or so. It's
Yeah,
wonderful.
I'd see that. I still think we would need, for our purposes, we would need, what's it? Something more like the powder, because Kaya tends to drink in non-standard amounts.
Right, yeah. And that's the only downside I've had so far is that if you're hungrier than one bottle, you have to either go into a second or get something else.
Yeah, yeah. And her problem is that she usually has it for breakfast, and she might drink 250 kcals worth.
Okay.
Usually it's closer to 200, and then we have like odd amounts left at the bottom of the bottle, and
Yeah.
I announce how terrible it is, and she laughs, and yeah,
Yeah.
that's how that goes. But so 1.6, it's coming.
It's coming.
It sounds tasty, and I'm really excited for it because honestly, I keep drinking the neutral Soylent 1.5 and go, man, I really want to know what the 2.0 tastes like, but I don't want to shell out for that much Soylent 2.0.
It's really not that bad. Like it's relatively affordable.
I suppose compared to the price of McDoubles, it's probably reasonable.
Yeah. Well, McDoubles are the worst possible example because that's like the most nutrient dense, cheap food you can get.
I would say
Touche.
nutrient dense, protein dense.
Well,
You need a lot of
calorie
nutrients.
dense.
Yeah.
Protein/calorie dense, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, have we talked on the actual show about the ordering robots or kiosks that are
No, we
now
haven't.
at TD or Scotia Center McDonald's?
They're
They're
like
there. They're wonderful. I have not spoken to. No, I've spoken to them because they're human beings, but I haven't ordered from a human being since the kiosks started up.
Hmm.
And it's great because I guess nobody comes in from the back. So I'm always just like, I notice you're snickering a little bit, Rob.
Phrasing, that's
Phrasing.
all.
Okay, all right. Yeah, so everyone's all about coming in the front, and nobody wants to come in the back. So that's what I do. And
Makes
then kiosks right there. There's no line.
Huh.
I
I've
can't
still
do
never
it, Mike.
McDonald's where they had the robot kiosk.
Well, in fairness, Kathleen Wynne hasn't put in a $15 an hour minimum wage.
That's true. We're at 10 something.
According to McDonald's, the kiosks have actually require more staff, but I feel that's temporary.
Yeah,
Is it-
there are definitely people standing there beside the kiosk trying to help you.
But
Like
then they're
it's-
just working themselves out of a job. Really.
Yeah.
Well, no,
It's
because
like the Facebook. It's like the Facebook. The suggested articles people. They're just training an algorithm.
Well, same with the Uber drivers. They're training future
Yeah.
driverless Uber.
Exactly.
No, there's what is it? Like there actually seems to be the same number of staff around. They're just all behind the counter working on orders now, which is what I would rather have.
Oh yeah.
I would rather just say, "Yes, please make this order for me," and then you have like a bunch of people working on it instead of people standing there wasting their time taking orders when you could just do it yourself.
Yeah. I think Subway could also benefit from this system too. Because a lot of the time is spent communicating your order to people. If I
Right.
could just pre-program an order and then just walk up, punch in a number or something, and
And I get the same thing every single time too,
Yeah,
so it's not
yeah.
like it changes that much.
Yeah.
It's just every single time. Okay, so tomato, no lettuce, spinach, yeah, tomato.
yeah. So Soylent, you'll have to let us know how long does a box typically last you, Nick?
I'm on a monthly subscription,
Okay.
and that's about the time frame, or no, it's one box per month because they're all monthly subscriptions.
Yeah.
But one box really it lasts a little longer than a month, so I'm okay having like a little stockpile
Right.
because sometimes we just go through a bunch, or I'm super busy, so I'm just eating Soylent,
Yeah.
or we really need to go grocery shopping and I'm eating a lot of Soylent. But
Yeah. The really nice
Yeah.
thing about the subscription that I didn't know until I started one was that you can just pause it whenever you want, and really the only thing that changes is you get a discount on anything you get.
yeah, which is nice. I'm totally happy being a subscriber that way.
Yeah. So the last piece of follow-up we have here, because amazingly we're still in follow-up, is that there's another place in the U.S., Missouri, that it has put some power generation stuff, some technology into its roads, or at least it's received a grant to do so. A couple of $750,000 research grants from the Department of Transportation in the U.S. and a starting $100,000 grant from the Federal Highway Administration to build a prototype of this road. It's very intrigued. So they're installing solar panels into the roadway for at least part of a thing as a startup project.
Are these the solar freakin' roadways?
I don't know. These are from a company called Solar Roadways. Is that the one? Is it the same project?
I don't know.
Okay, because I don't
We know
I don't
the video
remember.
we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, it's apparently safety glass that's very strong, and they just put it into the road and it generates electricity. So Nick, I'm curious what you think about this, having not talked about it in a year or two.
I think it sounds like a technologically challenging project, but such is the nature of future advancements.
Right. They're saying,
I'm so glad someone's experimenting with it.
yeah, making a roadway out of glass is tricky because sharp and expensive, but
Yeah, when it fails catastrophically and is sharp when that happens, it makes it tricky for tires, but
yeah.
you know.
It's interesting because you do see on paved roads, you see like where a lot of trucks drive, you tend to see like those wheel ruts just four along, and like it's very deformed. So I'm curious to see how glass would stand up to like an 18-wheeler on it. But apparently this one at least is modular, so you don't have to kind of replace an entire road area. You can just swap out a broken piece.
That does sound like solar freaking roadways.
Yeah, and it's LED lit as opposed to having painted on lines.
Yep, yep. That sounds
So
accurate.
it seems like what has happened, and I wasn't sure, but I guess that's the case, is that these
A legislator has seen the YouTube video
Yes.
and
and said, all right, let's give them some money, let's try it.
solar freaking roadways it is. Wait, no, I'm a legislator. We'll drop the word freaking.
Yeah, so I'm very curious to see how this works. First of all, in practice on roads when they actually have kind of a large amount of money to work with, or not large, but for at least for the start. Um, I'm curious to see how it holds up to winter. I'm curious to see how it holds up to weather like rain and all that. Missouri, does Missouri have
Rain
tornadoes?
and etc.
Yeah.
So I'm most worried about traction, especially when it's wet.
Yeah.
And I guess the idea is they're saying that you can just replace them in a modular way.
Yeah.
But like they're supposed to be tractioned, like they have whatever.
Yeah,
either
they look
material
it looks
or,
like a hexagon pattern on it.
Yeah, and I'm assuming some sort of like not dimpling, but
Right.
kind of sandpapery type
Yeah.
thing. But that's
Something
gonna
textured.
polish up real nice. So I don't know. I'm skeptical.
I'm very curious to see how it goes because it seems like such a great idea, like such an untapped idea. Like we talked about putting solar panels on rooftops, which is a thing that happens, but we also talked about like painting just roofs white to increase reflectivity of the surface of the earth. That's for climate change. But like there are all these kind of large scale landscape things where there's a bunch of flat like surface that's exposed to the sun, and we're trying to come up with creative ways to use it. But yeah, traction seems like an issue. But like traction, it just has to be as good or better as asphalt, and that has some pretty serious downsides when it comes to traction too. So
Does it?
yes.
It's in what way?
Have you ever listened to Carrie Underwood? If you go and listen to Jesus Take the Wheel, that is a cautionary tale against the high coefficient of friction of some roadways.
Low coefficient of friction?
Sure, yeah, low. You're right. But yeah,
Jesus, take the wheel.
I picture just
Tighten the
spinning.
coefficient of friction.
I should have known to use solar roadways.
We're losing the melody here, but I appreciate what you guys are doing. So, do you guys want to get to an actual topic?
Oh, but this
course
is
you
so
do.
much fun.
My topic of the week that I think I need to lead off with, regardless of what anybody else thinks right now, is that so who of us is applying to be an astronaut? Because I know I am.
I have learned that I am unfit for military service, so I'm pretty sure they're going to be the Canadian astronaut. That's not happening for me.
Because of your hip?
Yeah, major surgery disqualifies you from service.
Major service does not disqualify you from astronauting. I'll tell you that right
Well,
now.
that's right. There's no gravity, so it shouldn't matter, right?
Well, you're not in active military duty when you're an astronaut. At least here, I don't know about how the States works, but
My eyesight isn't good enough, probably.
it's 2020 and it's 2020 or better, but you're allowed to have be corrected to that level.
Oh, then what's the
Wow.
deal? What's the issue then?
Yeah.
Why even have that
Exactly.
qualification?
Because people can have their vision be uncorrectable to 2020, like if you're
That's
blind.
fair. That's true.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, okay.
Basically the only downside, the only reason that anyone who is a self-respecting scientist that has, I guess, a death wish would not apply is because the application is so freaking long. It is, as you'd expect. I mean, that's fine. I'm not complaining, but
Well, I mean, yeah, you want to screen out the 4-year-olds.
yeah, the the only real qualifications are there's a height limit, like a height top and bottom. There's a weight top and bottom. Vision has to be corrected, and they're actually for the first time accepting if you've had LASIK vision correction, you're still able to qualify. Uh, it this launched, I think, this week, beginning of this week, or maybe last week, and the deadline's August 15th. I encourage anyone who is thinking about it to at least, I know I'm going to apply, no matter what happens. Like, I'm going to find some time this summer and finish that application. They're taking the Canadian Space Agency is taking 2 astronauts, and why would I not want to be a part of that history? That sounds so amazing. You guys don't share my excitement about it.
I'm looking
That's
up
fine.
I was looking up the weight requirements.
I think it's around
Oh, I
150
could.
or 140 to 200 or something.
It's wow. The weight is between 50 kilos and 95 kilos, and that's a pretty generous range.
It is, yeah.
I'm just seeing Apollo 13 and The Martian playing over in my head.
The Martian is a success story. Nobody died.
Also, I want to
Wait.
say I watched The Martian last night, so that wasn't a spoiler for
There
me.
you go.
Finally, I was so proud of him with the poop potatoes.
Yeah.
But Rob, are
Also
you
potatoes
confident?
because Irish.
Yeah.
Rob, are you confident in being Matt Damon?
I would get skilled in botany in case that happened, yes.
You don't even have to be skilled in botany, just potatoes, man.
I'm not skilled in potatoes yet.
Were you a university student?
I was, but I did not ever eat potatoes.
Oh man, I would go for like weeks at a time.
Hmm.
Just potatoes and some milk. Oh, it was great.
Yeah,
Cereal style?
Sorry?
Cereal style? Like
Well,
little
you call them mashed potatoes usually.
chopped up potatoes in a bowl of milk.
Mm-mm. There were times when I just bake a whole tray of them all at once and just eat them like apples through the day.
Literally like Matt Damon.
Yep.
Yeah, but they'd cooled off for me, so I could just,
Right.
munch on them. Some
Mm.
sharp cheddar with them. Oh, that's...
I actually did that last night. We bowled up a bunch of those mini potatoes and watched and ate them while we were watching the soccer game.
Oh, the little boiled potatoes
Yeah.
are great. Especially
Those
the
are
ones
so
that have the blue potatoes.
That's what we got. Yeah, the blue ones, like the mixed ones, the tricolor.
Like the ones that are actually blue on the inside, too.
Oh no, not on the inside.
Oh, okay. The ones
they
that are
have
blue
those?
on the inside. Yeah.
Oh.
I think the Little Potato Company sells them or something like that.
Hmm.
Oh, blue potatoes are the best. They don't even taste that different. It's
No.
just you look at it and go, wow, it's blue. And like with anything called blue botanically in the edible range, it's like, yeah, this is actually more like a purple, but
Yeah.
sure, blue.
Yep.
I don't think I could be an astronaut. It's the blood pressure.
Okay.
Frequently have very high blood pressure.
Interesting. They, hmm. Yeah, there's a thing right at the very end of the article that says basically like space exploration interest is at an all-time high, maybe not eclipsing the 60s, the late 60s in the US, but apparently the US, when they did their recent drive, received over 18,000 applications,
Wow.
and they're generally choosing a handful of people.
That's good though, because you want the best and brightest to be your astronauts. So the
Yeah,
bigger.
oh yeah, these are all good
Fast.
things. It's just facts.
Also, I didn't realize education was so specific. Like, you're not going with a BA.
No. Yeah, you're going to be conducting science experiments and all that.
Even though even though an astronaut is on record as having said they should have sent a poet.
Yeah, that's what pictures are for, I guess.
Well,
There's
that's neat.
a. Sorry, Nick. Go ahead.
I said that's neat.
Oh, okay.
That's it.
Um, they're talking about a year of exams, interviews, and a battery of physical and mental fitness tests. And they also they describe the fitness tests, and I guess maybe the physical and mental ones. This is a direct quote. They bring you to your knees. They bring you to your absolute limit. Every test is an ultimate challenge of what you can give. And then once you've had enough and you're exhausted, then the test begins. And I want to know what that is. I want to know.
That sounds like a CrossFit ad piece.
It does.
It really does. I don't know. Have you seen what they do to hockey players, like at the scouting combines?
No.
I remember there was a Leafs prospect from a few years ago, and he had just gotten out of one of the tests, and he's talking to the reporters. And he's like, sorry, I need to go throw up," and just goes over to the garbage can, just loses everything. Yeah. Apparently, it's quite stressful.
Yeah. And so I kind of feel like this what's his name? Jeremy Hansen, one of the last two that was chosen, said he was convinced he could do the job, but thought statistically, realistically, there's no way they were going to pick me.
He sounds perfect based on the requirements.
Yeah. But so I'm really excited, and I'll have to keep you guys filled in on my progress, because they're using like a very standard government application process.
Oh,
but
God.
It is very long. The questionnaire portion is insanely. I didn't even count the questions because it's like 40 pages of questions. It's crazy.
Wow, that is a lot of questions.
Again, what you'd want, but it's a lot.
Yeah, but I mean the government hiring processes are just terrible.
Yeah, they're insufferable.
Yep.
Mike, you didn't answer. I assume you would not want to be an astronaut currently.
As a person, I would, but circumstantially, I wouldn't.
Now, let's roll back 15 years, 10 to 15 years. Would you? Would you have, or was there ever a moment when you would have?
I'd have no reason not to want to.
Okay.
Yeah.
I still would. I have heard great things about Chris Hadfield and his wife's experiences with him being an astronaut. Like I believe he was in the military and he flew fighter jets. So he was gone for long stretches of time before he was a fighter pilot.
A chauffeur.
He hops on their back. Go, go, go.
Yeah. So apparently it's not the end. Like especially now, it's not the end of the world with the internet. You can just talk to anyone. You just Skype up to the ISS, and good to go.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to do it necessarily until I'm dead. Like I wouldn't want to go on a one-way mission, but if they were recruiting for that, I would probably be pretty easily convinced to try.
You would
one way as in like we're sending you out there and you're going to die doing it?
Well, not necessarily you're going to die, but like this mission is going to take so long that the next generation will be finishing the mission. Assuming that you survive. Like obviously you can die in space, it's very easy, but that's the kind of thing. Like if they said we're gonna go as long as it takes. We have this huge spaceship. We're gonna go to Alpha Centauri. This is gonna be at least a 17,000-year mission. Like I would go on that mission. I would try. Personally, again, circumstantially, if it actually came up, that'd be something I really have to think about. But right now, I can say with confidence that would be amazing. So, Nick.
Yes.
You often talk about fluff. Why is this story that you have here in the notes?
Because the World Health Organization has dropped coffee's status as a possible carcinogen.
Mm-hmm.
Already?
The world's greatest addiction is even better.
It's not even worse, I would say, more than it's being better.
Let's recap, though, because it seems like it was only a couple weeks ago that it was added to the list.
Apparently, a couple weeks ago is 25 years ago, and the WHO said it might lead to bladder cancer. Now, having spoken with someone who's worked on cancer research, I think there's like some of the classifications are just goofy. It's like this hasn't been ruled out to cause cancer, so it's like I don't know,
That's like everything, though.
except coffee, which has been ruled out.
For
So
now.
you're probably safest drinking coffee than anything else.
And they reviewed, I think it's over 1,000 studies or something like that, and found that it just where's the quote? A group of 23 scientists convened by the IARC concluded, quote, that there was inadequate evidence for the carcinogenicity of coffee drinking overall.
Nick, I love this report from the Wall Street Journal because they go through this whole thing about coffee and how great it is and how it doesn't cause cancer. And then it goes on to say that drinking very hot beverages is probably carcinogenic now. So they're saying let your coffee cool down before
And
drinking.
I hate drinking hot coffee, so this is perfect. Like when they hand it to me and it's still really hot, it's like, no, but I don't like this.
Yeah.
And so once it cools off, it's quite nice. I don't understand the people who can just like grab a fresh cup of tea and just down the thing.
Yeah, it
It
doesn't make
seems
sense.
just needlessly painful.
Yeah.
Guys, hold the phone. There's a quote in here that says, larger and more well-designed studies now suggest the opposite. It may be protective for some cancers.
And that was
Even
also
better.
that was in past articles too. Like every article that comes out either says this study says you get cancer. This study says you don't get cancer. This study says you're actually protected from cancers. Like those are the three things that every study comes out and says about every food or thing you come in contact with.
Yeah, but this is a large review.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like
I'm
this
not
is
saying
actual good science.
this isn't less valid than any of the other results. It is not necessarily more valid, but it is another piece of evidence saying that it's not going to cause cancer.
Yeah. And Rob, you might consider taking up coffee drinking. Your prostate will thank you.
I won't, but I will look into other things that will protect my prostate.
Please do.
Okay. Thank you for taking such an interest in my prostate.
It's a killer.
It is. It absolutely is.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say. I'm not a coffee person.
I just finished my coffee from this morning. So I'm pretty happy about it, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Feeling protected?
Very much so.
I get it.
I'm just glad I didn't pull the pin when they said coffee was carcinogenic. I just
25 years
kept
ago?
trucking on. Was there not something a couple weeks ago that it was circulating around Facebook that says coffee causes cancer?
Oh, well, if you're using Facebook as a source, then
I'm not
probably.
using it as a source. I was just aware of it popping up on my feed. I'm like, why am I seeing this? Is this new?
It depends on who you have on Facebook and what kind of person and what quantity.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's a story for another time because, oh my, you
Because
can follow the
let's-
wrong people.
Let's all get the very best people onto Google Plus and
No, not Google Plus. We're off the Google Plus train.
Well, we're using
who's
Google-
we?
We? I don't know. Society?
Yeah, I don't know what's next, but I don't think it's Google Plus. I don't think Google thinks it's Google Plus.
I still
Twitter.
love Google Plus, and
It's fine.
Yeah.
I still love it if people used it, but if they don't, then it's worthless.
Google's gonna buy Twitter.
That'd be cool. I'd be fine with that.
They're already integrating tweets directly into their search results.
I don't like Twitter. I like Snapchat.
I was trying to explain Snapchat to some millennials this
Wait, you are
Last
explaining it to millennials?
That doesn't sound right.
That doesn't sound right.
okay, people slightly older than me, and I'm considered a millennial, so
Oh, so they're not. They're
Okay.
non-millennials then.
No, but they're like 1 or 2 years older than me. They're still considered millennials.
No,
Yes.
they're Gen Xers.
What? No. They're literally like I went to school with them. They're my
Right.
compatriots, and I'm a millennial, so they're millennials.
When you say millennials, that's like the 20-year-olds of today.
Well, then, so you're saying I'm not a millennial?
No, I don't.
Oh.
I would say
I think
not.
millennials are like 18 to 25 or 18 to 35 right now.
It shouldn't be that way though.
You want to get
I don't know
narrow
what to
definition?
tell you.
Yeah,
There's-
I think that's what it is.
Old
They, I'm not sure they saw the appeal, but I also like I was showing them the stories of people that had posted recently, and they were like, "Why would I want to look? Why would I want to look at what people are doing right now? Like, who cares?" And I was just sitting there thinking, "Have you been on any social network? That's all it is."
I don't
yeah.
think. I think you might be. I think the phrase you want is I was explaining social media to some antisocial people.
Yeah.
It seems like that. I mean, Amon, friend of the show, was one of the people.
Oh, Amon's a total. Yeah,
What?
don't even get into that.
And Amon was telling us about his phone plan, which has unlimited text messages. So he loves SMS. He's frequently endorsing SMS as the future of messaging. It has no data, and it has 20 minutes a month, plus unlimited weekends after 9 p.m.
Not even unlimited evenings.
No.
How
So
much is this plan?
it's $20.
Okay.
Okay,
But-
this is a perfect segue into what I want to talk
Yeah,
about. by the way.
exactly.
Yeah.
But just to say, Snapchat's amazing.
So
yeah.
to continue on Rob's explanation of phone plans, recently our tethering ability has gone away
Oh
to our
no.
phone. We used to be able to, and Maria actually used it for work. So we lost it, so she quickly needed a solution. So we ended up going out to get a internet hotspot.
Okay.
And looking at the different options, we realized or found that Fido's the graded or graduated kind of payment option for $15 for 1 gig, 25 for 3, 35 for 5 was kind of the best value out there.
Okay.
And it worked because they gave us a 10% discount because it's a second line because we're already with Fido. So we got that, and then I was curious to see if we could, and because the hotspot took a SIM card, I wanted to see if we could just throw our phone's SIM in there, and sure enough, it worked perfectly.
Yeah.
So then we're like, okay, can we make this work by just swapping, like keeping the hotspot because we bought it outright, and just swapping the SIM in and out of the phone and the hotspot whenever we needed to use the hotspot, which again would work in theory, but then when you try to call her phone when the SIM was in the hotspot, all phone calls would go directly to voicemail, and at first we saw that there was no ability to receive SMS messages because a lot of her work compatriots again used SMS like just religiously.
Yeah.
Because that's apparently all that exists out there for messaging.
Honestly, having coworkers that know about SMS is pretty great.
Is it? I'd rather they know about like.
Listen, I get it. You work with smart people, and I'm
Message.
very happy for you, but that is not the majority of people out there.
What do people use?
What do you mean I can't just phone you? Can I send you a fax?
People don't actually ask that.
No, they
Rob,
don't.
would you like to pipe in working in a government office?
I have not heard the word fax or facsimile in quite some time because
Really?
they don't have fax machines now. They have all-in-one things that can send faxes, but it's still new technology, and so nobody who would send a fax could send a fax through that.
That's great. I had at least a couple applications recently, or at least one recently, where the only way to get it to them was via fax.
Wow.
That's just for like security though. People use
Is it?
that for. Yeah.
Is
Like
it?
government forms, like I've had to send a fax before to a government. I can't remember what it was for, but it's something with the government. And it was because in theory fax machines are more secure like sending it over the phone lines versus interneting.
You mean because nobody is there? Like it's security by obscurity? Because nobody sends faxes?
Because no one has ever tapped a phone
Yeah,
line.
no one's
Well,
ever
but
tapped
that's
a
the thing. You
phone.
have to be like specifically targeted. You can't just
That's
put
what I mean.
like,
It's security by obscurity.
I guess.
If your line was being tapped,
Right.
sending a fax would be completely insecure.
Right.
I would argue that uploading it to a secure website would be way more secure than by fax, except that nobody uses fax.
So anyway, back to my long story that I was hoping would be short, but
Yeah.
it's not. So we were looking at different options, and we're like, okay, well maybe we'll just open up a second voice line, that's just voice and text, to be basically dedicated for work stuff for when she's using her data SIM in the hotspot. And that's where I started looking at what plan options were out there for someone who literally just wants voice and text. And there isn't a whole lot out there for like a reasonable price. The cheapest you could find is like a $25 per month plan that was unlimited texts and then like 100 minutes.
Yeah.
But other than that, like you can do prepaid, but even then is like $15 a month every month.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's unfortunate that they make it so hard, especially say like with Fido. Like we're already with Fido, and I'd like for it to be easy to just say, hey, we want just a simple voice line, and it's like $5 a month or something.
Yeah.
Just in light of us already having services.
Except that the connection to the network from the phone is what theoretically they say costs them money. And so typically what I've seen is like a $10 a month kind of networking fee covers that, but then anything above that is for services. But the 10 like if you look at plans, the point where a plan crosses the where it crosses the y-axis is $10 approximately.
Right.
Like that's the base fee for just getting on the network.
Right.
And not that that's great, but because you're already buying so many services. But
yeah,
I forget if I actually posted this, but there was a tweet from, I'll call him friend of the show, Daniel Bader, who's at Mobile Nations. He posted that there's new TELUS plans, and I went and checked them out. Now TELUS offers a share plan that goes up to 40 gigabytes a month, and it's about the same price as Rogers' 30 gigabyte plan a month. So that's the best per gigabyte dollar amount that I've seen so far. It's like $250
And how much is that?
A month for 40 gigs.
Sorry, how much?
About $250 a month.
$250.
It's still not great considering the amount of cost, but per gigabyte it's a lot cheaper than other plans.
Yeah, if you have like 4 or 5 people that are sharing it, then it's pretty good.
I would get a 4 gigabyte plan. 40 gigabyte, and think that I'm probably safe. I don't think I've ever crossed 40, but who knows, if I had LTE and I could upload LTE, I might go over 40.
Okay, Rob, when does your billing period start? What day of the
10th.
month? The 10th?
Yeah.
Okay, we need to do this challenge.
I'm not going to do the challenge.
I want to try because I'm curious, because when I put the LTE SIM that came with the hotspot into my phone.
Yeah.
And it could still receive calls. Like it still has a phone number.
Yes, it does.
So in theory, I could get like one of these iPad plans and use it as my phone plan, and just pay.
I have that in my Android phone right now.
Yeah.
I have that SIM.
Right. So, like, because we have talked about before, like we want data-only plans. Like they have data-only plans.
And they're still expensive. They're not cheaper.
Well, $35 for 5 gigs. That's not horrible.
I don't want a data-only plan.
I want a data-only plan.
Nick.
I want people to not be able to reach me by phone or text.
Nick, what do you need non-data for?
Talking to my parents and loved ones.
That's what Hangouts dialer's for any other voice over LTE system.
Or Messenger now supports phone
Or
calls.
Messenger, or whatever, like, or WhatsApp, right? Like, no, I'm serious. Like, this is where cell phones, hopefully, are going.
Yeah.
Just imagine.
So Nick, what I did in first-ish year was basically as soon as it became a viable thing, I said, okay, mom, dad, don't call me. I will not answer. Use this instead. And then, like, since then, it's been smooth sailing. My mom has actually learned a ton. Like, she's more modern than Amon is by
No,
a
I
pretty
I,
long
I
shot.
remember Rob,
Yeah,
what your workflow was.
it's great.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you have now settled. Are you kind of settled, or you want to do this
So,
data
oh
only
yes.
plan
Anyway, so
on your
to finish
phone?
the story,
Yeah.
so the hotspot has a web interface to configure it and whatnot, and it actually has the ability to send and receive SMS messages through this web interface,
On Fido.
just through the ZTE
Oh, okay.
hotspot, like the actual products
Interesting.
device page. Yeah.
Huh.
So it's because it uses whichever, like, I looked into it a bit more, and like SMS, the way it does is it sends it from your phone number to this other phone number, and then that phone number sends it to the phone number you want to send the message to. Like, it all kind of goes.
Relays.
It's kind of, yeah, right.
Yeah.
So this web interface, it just reads from the SIM what number SMS message to go to, and it sends it from whatever other server
Right. So,
that ZTE hosts.
but so if you use the hotspot, does
Yeah.
it charge you per text? Like, does that count towards your plan?
It's unlimited either way, but I don't know.
Wait, I thought you said it was a data only.
Okay, so we're using her phone SIM in the hotspot when we're doing this.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So it's sending it from her phone number.
Right.
And so the only other thing is the missed calls, but then you can check the text that you get when a phone
Yes.
message is left.
Yeah.
And then so as long as she's checking that every so often, then she's fine.
Right.
So we found a workaround, so we're going to cancel the actual data plan
Right.
and keep the hotspot and swap the SIM in and out.
Nice.
So that's our couple day endeavor to find
Yeah.
a plan. But yeah, it was painful trying to find a plan that was like that was flexible, where it's, either had like unlimited incoming calls, because we were looking at call forwarding, where if someone tried to call her number, it would forward to this other number.
Yeah.
And then she could pick up from there, and then texts she'd kind of have to work around or use a hotspot for sending text back and forth or whatever. But
Yeah.
it was more of a hassle than I would have liked to have been.
Sure. Of course, as it has to be.
Yeah.
Okay, well, in that case, if we have nothing else to say, I guess we can wrap for this week. I will thank
Do
you,
you
everyone
want to
who's
talk
listening.
about banking?
No, we can talk about that later. It's been approximately an hour, and we're trying to do that. I switched banks. Spoiler alert, and we will talk about it at some point, but we don't have to talk about it yet. So thank you for listening to this week's episode of Future Chat. You can head to unwindmedia.com/futurechat to see past episodes of the show. Much more. You can see Mike and my recent chat about WWDC, and you can also see my video review/discussion of cheap Android tablet that I have sitting in front of me still. Yeah. I'll talk to you guys next week.
Ciao.
Toodaloo.
Okay. Any after show business?
What bank did you switch to?
I moved my non-virtual banking to RBC, which is basically like just the place I'll deposit money physically, and Tangerine is where all my money is now.
I want to do that. I really want to switch to Tangerine, but they don't have an e-trading platform. So I think I'm going to stick with Scotia for the time being on that.
They have investing, but yeah.
Yeah, but it's with their funds, and
Right. Yeah.
their management expense ratio is like 1%. It's like,
Okay.
or fuck yourself, because
They could also you could also open Tangerine and bank with them. Like Scotiabank owns Tangerine, so you
Yeah.
could just open an account and save money there, but trade with Scotiabank. Like your ATM would be the same physical location.
basically, yeah, totally, because it's on the same network. But what I would probably do is switch all my banking over to Tangerine, but keep my TFSA with
Yeah.
Scotia.
Yeah. I moved my TFSA. All my TFSA stuff is in Tangerine because it gets 0.8% interest.
So Rob,
Right now it gets like 2.4% for the first
Yeah,
6
for new
months.
deposits, yeah.
And that would be great if I had any money at all in my TFSA.
Yeah.
So Rob, what do you have with RBC?
I have basically the products needed to not pay any monthly fees. Like that was the thing that I was trying to avoid is no minimum balance and no monthly fees.
So why are you still between two banks though? That's what I mean.
RBC it's a way to hedge against going virtual only because Tangerine, there's some things you just can't, like if I wanted to deposit cash in to a bank,
Mhm.
I can do that like there's an RBC right here, as opposed to having to necessarily find a Scotia bank because they're not nearly as broad here. There's not nearly as many.
Oh, really? There's a lot of Scotia banks here.
Where are you?
Ontario. Like where
Thanks,
I live.
Rob. No, you're like, no, because like I remember there were Scotiabank ATMs all over campus, all over downtown.
You're right. So, okay, here's the long story of what happened. I was dissatisfied with TD. Apple Pay launched on RBC on the first time it came to Canada with Visa, and I really wanted to use Apple Pay. And then I started looking hard at switching banks to RBC. This is at that point I wasn't really using Tangerine that much. I had money in there, but I wasn't quote unquote trusting it. And so I made the decision to go to RBC. And then when I started looking into that, I was like, hey, maybe I could just put my money in Tangerine and maybe this will work. But I had already started the process of opening the RBC accounts, and I liked the fact like they have free e-transfers and they have pretty good rates for stuff, and they're like I basically have no fee banking there. So I left it, but at that point I was like, okay, well I don't want TD because if I have a TD checking account, it's going to cost me money, or I'm going to have to keep money in a no interest checking account, and I didn't want to do either of those things. So I decided to close the TD stuff, but keep the RBC stuff because why not? I'm not paying any money for it. But most of my money is in Tangerine. I'm just going to use RBC for like fast e-transfers.
Right.
The banks drive me nuts.
Yep.
Like I remember being in a Scotiabank and they go, so we noticed you had some transaction fees on your one account there a couple months ago. I was like, yeah, I did. I made more than 3 transactions in a month. So
Yeah.
you charge me like $1 or something. They're like, yeah. Have you ever considered switching over to this account? It gives you this many transactions a month for this amount of money a month. And I looked at it, I was like,
that's more.
no, like, so they charged me like $2 maybe that month, and this other account was going to be $1 a month or something like that, some nominal fee. And I went, yeah, but if you look at my past 6 months, I haven't paid a fee in 5 of those months, so I'm still further ahead with this account. They're like, yeah, it's a fair point. It's like, I know it's a fair point.
Yeah.
That's literally the same conversation I have with TELUS every month. Well, not every month. Every 3 months, because we have overages for our data cap, and every time I go over, it's like, oh, we noticed you went over. Have you considered switching? It's like, but the other months I didn't. So I'm still okay. They're like,
there are people who would jump at that because they don't want the predictability. But I don't know, like, a friend of mine is getting hired by Tangerine to like implement some of their tech stuff at the branch they have down here. They call their branches cafes.
They do.
There was no coffee. I was like, there was a coffee maker in the corner, but I felt bad about asking for a coffee because there was also 3 of them and 1 of me in the entire bank at that time, and I was like, so you call this a cafe? I was like, do you have is there a pitch you can give? Like, what do you do here?
Yeah.
And they're like, no, it's all online. I can set you up for an account and just give you a card if you want. I went, No, I'm okay for now.
You should do that. It's really good. I'm endorsing it.
I really want to do it. I have to make sure that my student loan can go through Tangerine
Yeah.
because that's also a thing.
You'll find a link to my orange key in the notes for this week. Because why not?
What's your orange key?
It's the number that you use to get a $50 referral. It's like an
Ooh.
alphanumeric code.
Okay.
You get $50. I get $50. Everyone shakes hands and hugs.
Oh, we all get $50?
Yeah.
I want $50. Sweet.
Does Rob? Does the person above you also get $50?
No, it is not a pyramid scheme.
I bet they'll get some amount of money from me over the course of my lifetime greater than $50.
Yeah.
This is my assumption.
I have never paid any fee for Tangerine ever.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, so I would like to have a completely off-record conversation, just like a couple minutes.
Okay. I'll stop the broadcast because we talked about banking
Cool.
by broadcast.
Is this like off